This is going to be a tutorial on how to make proximity triggers and how to make an entity move when you move into the proximity trigger and also when you leave that proximity trigger. The main nodes that I'll be using in this are the move entity 2, and also the proximity trigger node. For example, I'll be showing you actually right now on how this will work. So here, okay. The proximity trigger is situated just probably about 5 steps just in front of me. The trigger is a basic entity just in front of that trigger, and that will move up to a certain position and move down. So I'll show you it now. The trigger is triggered and the basic entity moves into a certain position. This also, when you leave that trigger, you'll move down to a different position. I'll be showing you how to do this now. So here, okay, just on the right hand side of the roll-up bar, there's an just go under entity and go under triggers, and what you want to do is actually drag into that proximity trigger. Just put it anywhere you want. You can adjust here on the entity properties the X, Y, and Z axis to however big, small, or whatever size that you want. What you also need now is an entity, a basic entity that will be used when you actually walk into this trigger. The entities are found, basic entities are found under entity, under physics, basic entity. So you will then need an object to use as an entity. So just under here, just under the entity properties, model, so open model, and I just have a box I made from Google SketchUp imported into my sandbox. You can also use different other objects, but I'll just choose this for now. Okay. What you also want to do now for the next step is select your proximity trigger. You create a flow graph with this. Now, creating flow graph is also quite simple. I'll show you that now. Just on the right hand side here, as you have selected this entity proximity trigger, create flow graph just down here. Name it anything you want. So prox trig 1. Okay. What you want to do now, select the trigger, and just in this gray area here, add selected entity. That brings in the node for the trigger. The other two triggers that you also, the other two nodes that you need are also the add node, move entity 2. You'll need to duplicate this twice. Just there. And under the proximity trigger node, the two main things that you'll be using in output is the enter date. So go start, that goes to start, and the leave, start as well. You now need to select that entity, the one that you just made, the basic entity object, and assign it to both these move entity 2. All you have to do is pretty much right click the top bar and assign selected entity. Okay. Now, movement of the certain entity. Say for instance, when I walk into this trigger here, I want my object to move just here. At the top right hand corner of your crisis, it has these coordinates 270, 346, 26. That's the exact positioning of where you are right now in the world. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go put it under destination 270, 346, 26. Enter. I'll also do the same for the bottom one. So say for instance I want my entity to move down here when I leave. Same thing as well, but just for this bottom node. So I'm going to enter that 247 353 19. These are pretty much the X and Y axis of the local player, of where you are right now. Just under here, under the speed, needed to make it move. So say for instance speed 5. So average speed, also do it down here as well, to the movement entity 2, speed 5 as well, and it should work. So I'm going to put that down for a bit, put my player into the game. Okay, now the proximity trigger is actually somewhere in the middle there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk into the area, if I can find it, there we go, and it moves to that position that you were before. Now I'm actually here right now, so when I leave that position, it's actually meant to go back. There we go, and it goes back, not really back, but it goes to another position. So when I walk into it, it goes to that position there, the one that we said, and then as I walk out of it, it goes to its destination, the other one that said. This is just the simplest of ways in creating, in using the proximity and using basic entities to make them as a trigger. And thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, and yeah, that's it.